Hello and welcome back to KXAM Plus. I'm your host, Esmeralda Zamora. Right now, we're about to hear from the Governor, Greg Abbott, about more donations that are headed to help victims of the Independence Day floods across Central Texas. Governor Abbott and other state leaders are at a Northway Bible Church in Leander to help disperse the $6 million raised from a George Strait concert and benefit dinner dubbed Straight to the Heart that happened in late July. This comes after in August, funds were distributed to 60 families in the Kerr County area with checks of $25,000 to each of them. I believe that press conference has started, so let's go ahead and listen in.
For everybody here, damaged your home in a very substantial way. And this is going to be a check that will go a meaningful way to assist in the rebuilding process that I know far too many people are still struggling with. I do want you to know that there is an organization that's provided this check, and I'm going to tell you that I'm going to kind of give you an outline about what happens whenever there is a disaster like this that's been declared. I'll walk you through where we are, where we're going, all that kind of stuff. There's an organization in the state called Vaqueros del Mar. That's Cowboys of the Sea. I don't know why that's their name, but they are an organization that helps out in things like this. You may have heard of a concert that was put on by George Strait. And George Strait is connected with them, and George Strait in his concert raised a whole lot of money. This organization is headquartered and located real close to the Kerrville area. And their goal initially was to be able to help the people in the Kerrville area who had flooding because of the Guadalupe River and all of that. And they've provided substantial support to help everybody there be able to rebuild their homes. They found that they had extra money, and they knew about challenges that you all were facing, and they wanted to help you all also. And so I want you to know where that money is coming from. Second, so you can I want to give you the bigger picture so you can understand the full context of what happens in the aftermath of a declared disaster. The reason why I use that word declared disaster, there are disasters that happen all the time. It could be a fire, it could be a tornado, it could be a more minor flood than this that may not be so big or extensive or cause as much damage to rise to the level of being a declared disaster. And then there's several different types of declared disasters. It could be a locally declared disaster. If it rises to a certain level, it will turn into a state declared disaster. If it rises to an even more meaningful level, it will be a federally declared disaster. This one is a both local, state, and federally declared disaster because of the magnitude of damages that everybody has suffered. When we have a federally declared disaster, the response goes like this. You have the federal government through FEMA that provides FEMA assistance, among other things, to communities as well as to individuals. I'm going to give you some terms. Don't get confused about this, but there's two categories of support the federal government provides. One is called public assistance. What public assistance really means is financial assistance provided by the federal government to help local governments, like it could be the city of Austin, it could be Travis County. We have with us here today, I think everybody here today is either from Travis County or Burnett County. And so the federal government is providing assistance to each of those counties as well as some other counties. And then there's individual assistance. And for individual assistance, individuals need to sign up with FEMA and identify what their damages are, what their needs are, and they go about the process of determining how much assistance you get. It's my understanding that everybody here, actually to be here, you had to sign up for individual assistance. That's how we knew who you are. Listen, the reality is whenever damages may arise and there's money available, there are people who would qualify under the FEMA structure to be able to receive money from FEMA, but there may be some people who don't even live in the area who try to sign up and get money, which obviously would be fraudulent. And so there's a process of needing to weed out those who really do qualify and those who do not qualify. And so for the individual assistance, hopefully everybody here has already received some individual assistance. And an easy example of the type of assistance they should have provided to you if you've been displaced at all would be money to assist you in wherever you're living at this particular time. Some people had to move into like a hotel. Some people had to rent another location to live in, different things like that, where you're going through the process of rebuilding your home. And that money should be provided to you by FEMA for that individual assistance. What the state does is we provide money that's available for governments, could be the state government, could be local government, to respond to these disasters. As an example, we started spending money before the floods even began. We deployed resources to all these different regions to be prepared in the unhoped for event that we would have to save lives. It turned out that we did have to save lives. So we had National Guard, Texas Department of Public Safety, swiftwater rescue teams, all things like that. And through just those state resources alone, they either rescued or evacuated more than 1,000 of our fellow Texans, truly saving their lives. And that the first thing we do is save lives, protect lives, do whatever we can to make sure that your life and the lives of your fellow Texans is going to be safe and restored. Second thing we work on is we work with these local governments. Could be Travis County, Burnett County, your cities and things like that. Work with them to make sure they get everything restored and kind of back up and running. Could be helping them get the traffic light back up and running. Could be helping establish roadways, different things like that. You may have seen, this is, I don't know how close we are to the Cow Creek Bridge right now, but you may have seen a few weeks ago, there was a bridge that was completely eliminated. And the Texas Department of Transportation went in there, and the quickest project I've ever seen, took them about 4 weeks, completely rebuilt that bridge. And we had a ribbon cutting on it a couple of weeks ago, so that people are now able to traverse that area as opposed to driving 45 or 60 minutes around the area to get back and forth. We've done that with several other roads. Speaking of which, there can be a lot of confusion among citizens such as yourselves. You drive a road, you really don't care who's responsible for it. You just want to be able to drive across the road and have the road repaired. The reality is, for those who run governments, it does matter. There are certain roads that are listed as county roads, other roads that are listed as state roads, other roads that are listed as federal roads, like the interstate, things like that. The state is involved in funding projects for state roads and also working on interstate highways and things like that. The county or the city is in charge of roads that are county roads or city roads, just so you'll have that context. So what Texas has done up until now, when you look at the different things that we have funded, we've spent well over $200 million in helping to respond to this, and we just finished a special session where another $300 million was allocated to help go through the process of responding to the ongoing challenges. So simple math, that adds up to more than $500 million, which is more than $500 million that the state is spending on responding to this. The person who heads all that up is this person next to me over here. This is Chief Nimkid. He's the chief, meaning the chief person in charge of the Texas Division of Emergency Management. And he's going to talk to you here momentarily and tell you a little bit more about what's going to be going on today. But His job is constantly responding to emergencies. And the emergency doesn't end the day the water stops rising. The emergency, like for you folks, continues on to this day. And he has an entire team, and they are located, Nim, the team is, oh, here we go. Here's some of his team members right here. Are there some other team members out in the back? So, and you'll tell him all about all those folks. So here's what I want you to know, but he will tell you more the detail about it. And that is, he has team members here, as well as others that work with our teams to be able to, they need to learn what your needs are and work with you on responding to those needs. One of the job of the state, and that Chief Nimkid is in charge of, there are all these volunteer organizations out there, and we coordinate all of those volunteer organizations. I'll give you an example that I think does not apply to anybody here. There are some people who were living in trailer homes at the time that this flood occurred, whether it be in Burnett County, Travis County, or Kerr County. And there's an organization called Samaritan's Purse. I think that everyone who was in an RV, which was a lot of people in Kerr County, Samaritan's Purse provided a new RV for all those people. It's my understanding that Samaritan's Purse has done the same thing for many, but maybe not all, of the people who were living in a mobile home around this area. There's other organizations. Hopefully you all have experienced what I'm about to tell you. There are faith-based organizations as well as other organizations that for anybody who had any type of damage to your residence, which is the people in this room, they come in there and immediately assist in the process of what's called mucking it out, cleaning it out, cleaning out the floors, the walls, tearing out the sheetrock, maybe taking it down to the studs, whatever the case may be. Hopefully, if you've had any flooding damage, which you have if you've been here, or if you're here today, hopefully you've had somebody assist you in that process. If not, we need to know, because there are people who can help you in the clean out process and maybe even in the rebuilding process. We got volunteers, equipment, supplies, all kinds of things like that Chief Kidd can tell you a little bit more about today, but also the people who are here with him can talk to you about. Bottom line is this. We know you've been challenged in extraordinary ways. We want to be able to be a part of the process, not just now, but in an ongoing way to help you respond to those challenges. And there's different ways we can do that. One is to provide you a check, which we know you desperately need. Another is to help you try to coordinate the responses to work with you in the rebuilding process along the way. And there'll be other issues. And that's why we have team members both here in this room as well as those just outside of this room who are going to be here to talk to you about whatever your unique needs are, because your need may be different than your need, which would be different than your need. And we have different people who have different specialties that can try to address the needs of the folks here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hand the mic to Nim Kidd. And while he does it, I'm going to come down here, and as he will explain to you, we're going to be calling out the names of people here in, I think, alphabetical order. And I'm going to personally hand you a check to help you begin the process of doing even more to get back on your feet. But now I'm going to hand it over to Chief Nim Kidd.
Thank you, Governor. First, thank you. Thank you for taking the time away from work and your recovery process and the cleanup and the rebuilding to be here with us. I was explaining to some of the folks I was talking to in the lobby earlier, personally, I have never experienced what you have gone through. But I've been doing this job for about 30 years, and I've seen the faces and the devastation that happens when homes and families and lives are impacted like yours have been. And I want you to know, while you may not see us, while you may not see our state agency, we are working in the background around the clock to support you and a bunch of people that I'm going to introduce you to help you get on the road to recovery. So I want to thank you for doing that. I'm going to talk about long-term recovery groups here for a minute, and I want you to know that we have endeavors. You've probably already met with Samaritan's Purse, the Salvation Army, the Red Cross, the Global Empowerment Mission, Arc of the Highland Lakes, and then the Travis County Recovery Alliance, which is going to be very important for you to know those folks. That's the Austin Disaster Relief Network, the Hill Country Community Ministries, Central Texas Community Foundation, United Way of the Austin Area, Austin Mutual Aid, Texans on a Mission, and again, the Salvation Army and the Red Cross. Those are volunteer and faith-based organizations that we rally with to support you to meet your needs. Now, I'm learning and hearing still, we still have debris that needs to be picked up. Please do not leave here today without sharing with our team the address of where that debris is so that we can come and get it. The governor and the legislature have made contracts and funds available to remove all debris from public property, private property, commercial property, and state waterways. I'm telling you, that's the first time in state history that's been done. This disaster is the first one. And I'll answer you, we won't do the town hall, but I'm not leaving here today until you all leave. I will make sure that we answer each one of your questions individually and one by one. I also know that there are going to be additional resources that you need. The resources are here in this room to help connect you with those resources. I want to make sure that you don't leave that lobby today without letting us know what you need so that we can help support that. I know that sometimes some of the people that you've worked with in Travis County specifically may not have been helpful or had the answers. I want to know what those questions that you have asked them are that you have not been given the answer, because I personally am going to go sit with a Travis County judge to get answers to those questions and make sure that our team reports those back to you. Our agency is a small agency. I'm going to introduce Jeff Pierce. Jeff, will you stand up again for a second? Some of you know Jeff. Jeff is the one valve for all of Central Texas. He's the guy that's responsible for making sure that all of these other people over here, all of our, the Endeavors, Recovery, Salvation Army, all y'all stand up real quick. All of y'all. They're the volunteers and the faith-based organizations here to support you. Thank y'all for being here with us today. I want to talk a little about the process, as the governor mentioned, about how we'll do this. We've seated you in alphabetical order to try to expedite this. Nobody wants to waste your time here today. But as we get ready to do some handing out of the checks, we're going to ask you to go alphabetically. There's going to be a sign-in sheet over here so that you can sign for the check. And then the governor will be here to hand the check and talk to you for just a few minutes. And so we'll work around. I think there's some ushers that we'll have that'll line you up and let you know when it's time to come, and then we'll move out. Our partners, our volunteers will be out there. Please, again, I'm not leaving here until you leave. I want to hear everything that you need so that we can help you get on the road to recovery together. And Governor, with that, I think we're ready. Let's get the team to, yes, sir.
I'll explain this and then we'll get going. So I wanted to mention this because some of you may be wondering, why is it you that's here? And who selected you for this process? It was the Vaqueros Del Mar organization. And they went through the list of information provided to FEMA to see who sustained the worst damage. Your name came up in that process. Bottom line, it was the Vaqueros Del Mar organization had the ability to look at that FEMA list, and they said that whatever your name is, that you needed that help. I want you to know this also, and that is, we have checks today, not just for you all, but for other people also who sustain damages like you did, just because of work or whatever reason, they were not able to make it here. So you may have someone living right next door to you that sustained damages that you're saying, well, they're not here today, why not? It could very well be that they did qualify for one of the checks we're handing out today, but they were not able to be here. I just want to make sure you understood that. But that's we're happy to help you out with the check here real quick.
Jeff, are you running this?